Right, a very good afternoon, a good morning, and good evening to all on frequency. This is Zulu Sierra 6 Yankee India operating the worldwide net and coming to you from Johannesburg or near Johannesburg on the lovely QO-100 satellite. I'm just trying to look at some of the sync slightly out on YouTube, but can't help that at the moment. We'll sort that out another day. Anyway, today we have a number of listeners. We have Dick Kessler. Let me just cut that. W7 Sierra Victor. We have Cherk, ZS1 Papa. Renato, ZS6 REN. And Viv Dold, ZS6 Victor Delta. And then we also have, hopefully, Chad, ZS6 Oscar Papa Sierra. And then we have Professor Bob Maguire, November 4 Hotel Yankee. He might click on a little bit later. He used to be the head of AMSAT US, United States. And I've given Bob the link and said I will keep him in the loop when we do the YouTube. I know Dick said he was very, very sad that they did not have something similar in the United States. Anyway, today on frequency, we have the following. Let me just see. We've got ZS1 Mike to follow, Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta, Bert, and then Bert, you pass it to Martin, G4 FKK. Martin will pass it to Mike. Saw your transmission just now, Mike, G0MJW. Mike will pass it to Nick. Hi, Nick. Golf 4 India Mike Oscar. I just want to see on the other net. Okay, let me just see. I did see old man Frank, Delta Lima 9, Delta Alpha Charlie. I don't know if Frank wants to come up, but also saw Papa Echo 2 Tango Victor. Once again, we want to thank the Qatar Amateur Radio Society, or the satellite company, for allowing us the opportunity to use space on their wonderful satellite, which makes this possible. We want to also thank AMSAT DL, AMSAT UK, of course, and the British Amateur Television Club, of whom's chairman is with us today. Hello, Martin. But those three organizations certainly did a lot on the amateur radio side, and of course the Qatar Satellite Company. Without their assistance, this would definitely not have been possible. So it is really a deep, heartfelt thank you to all those organizations. Okay, I will now go over to the net and we'll bring in Leon. Leon, if you don't mind, back to Bert, Martin, Mike, and then Nick and Frank. Yeah, Frank's had a horrendous time. He uploaded the new OBS and that screwed everything around, so he's gone back to the old version. Saw him testing and he's on. And we certainly look forward to hearing what Mike's got to say about OBS 2.8 and the Droid Cam. Right, with that, Leon, to you the microphone, sir. ZS1 Mike in Worcester from ZS6 YI near Johannesburg.
Okay, thank you, Gary. ZS6YI and the whole group. ZS1 Mike saying good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. I haven't seen Sorrow yet. I'm very grateful for him for helping me get my standby computer going via remote control, as I'm computer illiterate. But he did a splendid job, and I've made a recording of it, so I must still get that recording to you, Gary. It's 3.63 gigs, so we'll still have to work out a thing to get it to you. Okay, now because this standby little computer of mine is only an i5 with no graphics card. The throughput, the video throughput is rather slow, so I'm not using my normal camera. I'm using the full format, so that the background is blurred, which takes up much less data. Now all the data is just concentrated on me, whereas if I go to my normal camera, the background is also in focus, and then I get all sorts of artifacts on my face because there's just not enough bandwidth. So hence I'm using that one. Martin, I'm glad you're here. It's a pity you were not on when I did my radioactivity talk 2 weeks ago, because I wanted to ask you if you have any of the old watches with proper radium on their dials. I had all sorts of other radioactive substances here that I demonstrated and so on, but the one thing I don't have is an old enough watch that still has radium on it, proper radium that is radioactive. A friend of mine in Bredasdorp still has an old watch, and I took the Geiger counter out there. It's so old that it doesn't glow in the dark anymore, you know, it's just worn, but the radiation is still there. When I brought the Geiger counter near it, it went off. So yeah, anyway, nothing else from me really. I now run dual UPSs, one with big batteries for outside in the workshop where the amplifiers are, just below the dish, and I have another UPS inside to run the computers and the cameras and stuff here. So load shedding or not, we'll stay on the air. Okay, right, Bert, I give it to you. Papa Alpha 3 Alpha Oscar Delta for the group from ZS1 Mike.
Hey, thanks Leon. 76 Mike. Papa Alpha for Alpha Oscar Delta for the group. I got probably the same what you have, the same kind of problems there. You were audio video were out of sync, and mine is also out of sync. I played a little bit with this morning and this start early of the afternoon, but I can't find it. What's the problem? I tried a few commands in FMP, but no positive results. It stays, let's say 2 seconds behind. Okay, last week I tried to show you my new controller, and that was got some problems with my video and audio. It was a problem after my Windows update, or maybe even my NVIDIA card update. I think that's more the problem. I can show it again, and now it's also completely built up. Last week it was not completely built up. Let's see if I can show you if it is light enough. My amplifier control board, no. Let's see if we can focus a little bit. Stay a little bit longer. There's a little focus. Anyway, it's I think it's now better than last week. The picture anyway. It's as you can see now, it's completely built up. It's with Raspberry Pico, the small one, and I see it's a little bit dark. The whole day was the sunshine, or the half of the day was sunshine, and at the moment no sun at all. So maybe a little bit dark, the picture. There's always something to complain. Maybe you can see it now a little bit better when I get it on a certain angle. Complete two relays, one small code relay or whatever you want to call it. You can use it to 1.5 gigahertz, and there's also switching input-output that's combined with the PDP. So there will never be any input on the amplifier when the output aware is not switched on. So it's always switched off as first and also switched on as last, the input anyway. And yeah, that's all I have to show. Not much today, nearly the same as last week. But it's now completed. Now I can start with the software, and that takes a while probably. I just did a small test if one of the LEDs could blink, and that works. Yeah, that was the easy part. Okay, that's all I have over here. The next coming weeks I will not join you net. I've got some other business in the coming 2 weeks anyway. And yeah, okay, system then to Martin. G4 FKK can tell about the watches, radiated watches. From Papa Alpha 3, Alpha Oscar Delta.
All good. That started. Oh, and there's noises on it too. Yes, afternoon, evening, and good morning to anyone on the net. And thanks for organising it, Gary. And yeah, your audio is very odd, Bert. Hang on, let's get this set up. There's a sort of metallic ring to it. It sounds like something digital looping back round very quickly. But as Gary said on the chat, I was watching you earlier talking to Leon, and your audio was fine then, so I don't know, maybe you've started some other thing in OBS or something. I didn't really know. And I've not been. I don't know. I think most of you know. I'm back at work after having retired. I got dragged back, and I'll give you a few pictures of what I've been up to at the last few weeks. But it does mean I'm only home at weekends at the moment. And that makes weekends extremely busy. So I've literally just finished lunch. My daughter's come round to see Anne and I, so I probably won't be on the net too long. But yeah, Leon, your picture was a cracking picture from the other from your non-usual camera. Lip sync was out a bit, and there was a bit of artifact when you moved, if you moved quickly, but I expect there is on mine as well. Yeah. So I don't know what the little computer is, but it's doing a pretty good job, Leon. And yeah, I'm sorry I missed your radiation speech the other day, or talk. I have got a couple of old watches with radium or thorium on them. I think this clock is the only one I could bring to hand. Oh, sorry about the reflections. Sorry about the lighting in here as usual, by the way. So this is a clock for an aircraft, in fact, and my dad gave it to me. Well, back in the 1960s, and it used to glow in the dark in those days, Leon, but it's stopped doing that now. But that's radium on that one. I think it's reasonably safe as long as you don't peer into it all the time, and don't try and scrape the loom off it. The watches I've got, I haven't dared touch really because yeah, it stopped, Mike. It doesn't work anymore. That's probably because when Dad gave it to me, I was about 11. So, oh, goodness only knows what I did to it. Oh, it's just started. It heard it. See if it's... Look at that. It's suddenly started again. Oh, perhaps Dad's decided to fix it. He told me a funny, well, not funny, it was a dreadful story really. Back in the 60s, I think this clock, by the way, was either a late World War one or was made in the early 50s, I think. They were having their lunch once in the workshop. They as well as clocks and watches, they did the factory did military instruments and stabilizers for chieftain tanks, I remember rightly. And one lunchtime, these chaps arrived dressed in all their full radioactive protective gear and started waving Geiger counters around. And of course Dad and all his colleagues just sitting there in shirt sleeves and things. And one of them, the guy who painted the radium onto the hands, was sitting there with his paintbrush, carefully painting them on, licking it between strokes, as it were. So very dodgy. What was the other thing I was going to mention? Oh, the amplifier board's looking good, especially now you've put the microcontroller on it, Bert. I'll just give you a quick flick through. I won't hold it too long, but because I think what Mike's got to say is a lot more interesting. But hopefully this will be a picture of. And I'll have to go into studio mode. So this is one of the 5 studios I've been working on in Birmingham. This is called a GP, a general purpose studio, and you'll see there's a lot of work still to be done with it. The monitor speakers are still covered in cardboard. But that's a very modern digital desk. It's amazing, really. It's got 24 faders on it, but you can allocate hundreds of sources onto that. As you see, all the computers, they're always the thing that aren't working, or they're working but the software on them's not. But those are German mixing desks, DHD, and they're very good if you know how to drive them, which I nearly do now. So this here's another view of the of that studio, or that cubicle. The GP, general purpose studios, have a cubicle, which is where the main mixing desk is, and then a studio which is normally operated just you just normally have guests and presenters in there, and but it's also fitted with a tiny mixer, tiny version of the DHD mixer, so you can do a self-operated show from there. That's the studio area. You'll notice all the lighting. Unfortunately, they need it all, otherwise I might have borrowed some of that for the lighting in the shack here. But all modern radio studios have got huge facilities for online and live TV and things. I don't quite know why, but there we go. Well, what's this? The last picture, so you haven't got much more to suffer. But this is a view from the studio area into the cubicle area, and as you see, there's loads of work needing doing on the installation front. These cameras, I can't remember what they're called now, but they're the ones sitting on the cardboard box in the middle there, are fabulous. Pan, tilt, zoom, 4K for a radio studio. Absolutely mad, really. Anyway, I think that'll do for that. So with that, I shall put it round to you, Mike. Very interested to see how you've been getting on with your new bits of software there. Okay, Golf Zero, Mike Juliet Whiskey to take it with the worldwide net. G4 Fox Kilo Kilo standing by.
Good. Thank you, Martin. Hopefully I've got audio and video. Looking at the side of it, it looks like something's happening. Yep, it is. And oh, there's something in the chat. Let's have a look. It's from Bert. Senna's a condenser mic. Something's not quite working right.
Bert on it. I'm sure you'll get it sorted out. So I am not using the normal PC with the NVIDIA graphics card in it. I'm using a laptop which has no graphics card in it. It's just got an Intel CPU. I forget what it is. Core i7, I think it is, which is of the later generation, after 6. In fact, it's quite a recent one. It shouldn't make any difference. And these have NVIDIA, not NVIDIA, the Intel encoders built into them for H.264, H.265. So you can use them with OBS to generate DATV signals. That's nothing new. That's what DATV Easy does. But as probably people have come across recently, there's been a very big change to OBS. It's moved from Qt5 to Qt6. And the result of that is it's broken the virtual camera plugin. So instead of having a virtual camera plugin that we can use for giving us something to pick up with FFmpeg and use, there's nothing at the moment, apart from it's got a built-in virtual camera, but that one doesn't have sound. Well, there's this thing called DroidCam. I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is just a laptop, nothing else, connected via the Ethernet to the Pluto. And okay, my lip sync's been adjusted. It's about a second, actually. There's something not quite right there. It might be to do with the coder. It might be to do with my script. But I'm just running a script, so hopefully that's going to focus itself. And all I needed to do was install the DroidCam software. Actually, I need to go back here now. And when you do, if you look in the Tools menu, you then find you've got DroidCam Virtual Camera output. So that replaces the other virtual camera. I don't know if you can see that. I'll come back onto the main system if we have another over, and you'll see the difference in the encoding. So I don't think the encoding that the Intel chip does is as good as the NVIDIA graphics card does, and it uses more CPU resources. The other thing you've got to be aware of is you don't want to be doing a lot of other things on the computer, because it can fall over if you are. So don't be doing email and having too many VLC windows open at the same time. But otherwise, hopefully this has convinced you that it can be done with OBS 28, because this is OBS 28 and a webcam and nothing else. So there you go. Oh, and a script, but the script is easy. Now, one of the other things to be aware of with DroidCam is that it acts more like a webcam, in that instead of you configuring its resolution, frame rate, etc. on in OBS as an output, it treats it as an input. So your script has to ask it to say, give us HD or give us 4:3 or whatever you want. And you have to ask it for the frame rate and the audio settings. But apart from that, it's all the same. So any script might need a little bit of additional things in it if it's not in there already. So there we go. The only other thing is I discovered with this codec, you do need to put a reasonable size buffer in. That's something I've probably not been doing with the NVIDIA card because it's so fast that it doesn't need one. So don't forget to give it a reasonable buffer to give it a chance of doing what it needs to do, and it'll do what you want. So there you go. Now, not much else to add apart from just a few comments. Leon, that new camera or old camera, whatever it was, with the blurred background, I assume it was a depth of field thing rather than an effect, because the effects do take up a lot of CPU. But it was incredibly sharp on your face, so I could see features on your face that I've not seen before, lines and things, and you could make out detail. So from that respect, it was very, very good. But I'm not sure the lighting was quite as good and the framing, but it was very acceptable picture, certainly. But the board, that looks interesting. That's progressing. We'll have to try and find out what's wrong with your audio. I'm sure it's not detecting when the QO-100 net isn't coming on at that time, but you never know. And Martin, I mean, the only thing I can say to you is something you're not really very good at, which is retiring. So you're going to have to work on that. And yeah, why have such good cameras for radio? I mean, I've got a face for radio, but I wouldn't like to be working in radio with cameras pointing at me all the time. You sort of, if you're there, you could be doing all sorts of things and having a drink, eating something in between the tracks if you're a DJ or whatever you happen to be doing. Cameras, sounds worrying. Anyway, with that, let's pass it round to Nick, G4 IMO. Over to you. I'll just put on a test card, G0MJW.
Yeah, okay, Mike, thank you for that. Yeah, okay, Mike. I've got my audio, that's good. Where are we? Camera, there we go. Yes, all very interesting. Hello to everybody on the net. Yeah, very good. Yeah, okay, Mike, on the new OBS, yeah, I'm still using 27.2.2. Every time I fire it up, it keeps asking me to update it, but I haven't. I wonder what is there any advantage with version 28? I mean, are there any extra facilities? I wonder, or if not, I shall just remain on version 27 that I'm using at the moment. But yeah, okay, all very good. Yeah, okay, Martin, on your studio pictures, they look excellent. Yeah, I wouldn't mind one of those myself. I was very lucky to sit in the studio of on board the Radio Caroline ship, the Ross Revenge. When was that? That'd be 2017, I think. That was the 50th anniversary of the Marine Offences Act. They were, and I was out there, but of course it was all everything in the studio was analog, of course, and yeah, those were the days, analog days. Yeah, I haven't had very much time for radio, I'm afraid. I've been helping the XYL with her exams, so she's doing these e-learning exams on the computer. There was 18 exams covering a very wide range of subjects. Pass mark was 70%, but fortunately she's passed all those, so hopefully I shall have some more time to play radio now. It was interesting. Was it last Sunday or the Sunday after? I couldn't come on, but I watched the repeat on YouTube, and it was interesting to see Leon on there talking about X-ray sources and smoke detectors and things. And last week at 4 o'clock in the morning, my smoke alarm decided it would make it went off. It sounded like somebody strangled it, or it was trying to send a message in Morse code. Anyway, we managed to silence the thing. This is the offending device here. It operates off of a PP3, but it also runs off the mains electricity. And I took it off, and but the self-test facility didn't work anymore. I sort of hoovered it all out, got rid of all the spiders that were inside, all the the remains of the spiders, but I couldn't make it work, and that the chip in there is now obsolete. So anyway, I managed to get a replacement off eBay, so I've now fitted that on there, and that's all working fine. On the computer, I've now downloaded SDR Console for the first time. The idea is to use that with the Pluto, because I want to try some using the satellite on SSB. single sideband. And I've had that working on receive, so that works quite well. I had some trouble setting it up, SDR console, but a quick search on YouTube, I came across a video on there of how to use SDR console on the QO-100, and it was put on there by Ed. So if you are watching, Ed, thank you very much for putting that on there. So that's all working. I'm not sure how to do the PTT. Perhaps somebody could tell me. And the other thing is the microphone. I can use this microphone that I'm using here, but really I want to use a headset. I've got a headset that's got a little electret microphone on it, but obviously it needs a supply voltage, so for the microphone. So whether or not I'll have to make up some sort of interface for that, I don't know. But anyway, that's the plan. But the next step is to change the 40 megahertz TCXO in the Pluto, because it is the original one that's in there, and that's not really suitable, not stable enough. But on the eBay there was a chap in Germany whose name was Jürgen, who was selling these. Is it going to focus? Probably not. Come on. No. No, it focused earlier. Why won't it focus? Oh well, never mind. Anyway, it's a 40 megahertz TCXO on a little printed circuit board. It's already been pre-mounted on there, so it should be fairly easy to transplant that into the Pluto. The hardest part is going to remove the original one that's in there. I just wonder, if you look on YouTube, there's various people on there sort of showing ways to remove it. But I did see somebody on there to say that there's the original oscillator that's in there. One of the pins, one of the connections to the chip is to inhibit the oscillator, and you can use that inhibit pin to actually stop it oscillating. And the output of that oscillator, all it does, it feeds a small chip capacitor. Well, surely it's easier to remove that chip capacitor than it is to remove the surface mount oscillator. So I wonder if anybody's used that inhibit pin on the chip to stop it oscillating, and then fed the new oscillator in onto the chip capacitor, because that would seem to be much easier. But if not, I shall have to remove the oscillator somehow. What else was there? I think that's about it. I think. Oh, I did see on the QO-100 chat that Nigel 2E0EHH has asked to be added on to the list. So hopefully he can come on. I think I pass it round to Frank. So perhaps Nigel can come on after Frank's finished. Okay, round to you, Frank. ZS6 GE G4IMO.
Just checking my audio. Okay, seems to work. Yeah, good afternoon everybody. Just showing my face to prove that I'm still alive. That OBS information, Mike, is very appropriate because yesterday, for one reason or another, I did the update. Also, I should have known not to do that. So this morning I reinstalled whatever was necessary, and I managed to do it all by myself. I'm rather chuffed about that. The only thing that has disappeared is a spectralizer in the OBS. That's why I had to check now the audio. But I'm sure I'll find it. I simply didn't have the time. Okay, now, Jack, if you're listening, long time no here, and maybe we can see each other here sometime. I have visitors, so I won't be coming back, and I have to cut it short. But it looks like it's working again. That was the purpose of the exercise just now, a quick test that everything is more or less back to normal. Okay, now who is next? Nigel. 2E0 EHH, Delta 6 Golf Echo.
Thank you very much. Just checking when I've got audio. Yeah, I got audio. I'll give it. Alright, I've just got a. I haven't had time to set it up, but I've just got it's running anyway. But a new startup menu, just see how it goes. And I got another video. I started building the shack, but I didn't have time to set it up, so I was going to run this instead of my test card. But you can see it running anyway. Just a matter of interest. Can you hear the sound? Let me just see. Yeah. And that's just let it finish off, and then I'll yeah. I've been away for a week at sunny Scarborough, northeast of my location. The lads in Mike and nowhere again, so I haven't been doing it much. Just got rid of that now, so it's still running. Oh bugger! Let me try and stop it. Cut over it. That's it. Yeah, I don't know if I put in the right. I use video and VCL to run video. So I've got a video how I built the shack up. I want to play it. I was going to test it today, but I ain't got run out of time, so it doesn't really matter. The startup seems like it's working, so no reason why the video won't run. But yeah, one question I had from last fortnight ago, and was when Leon was showing his X-ray machine camera. I was intrigued whether is it same powerful as an X-ray machine at the hospital or no, and then if so, does he have to shield himself for using it? Probably not, but I just like, just a matter of interest if you could answer that question. And also, is my video. I was using a Scene 720. But it wasn't running. I got comments on the BATC net, but it wasn't very good. So I'm using the C920, so it should be better. But that's it. I've not made no notes because I was trying to come set it all up and making sure I've got sound, and I ran out of time. If I get the video working on the next over, I might run it if you don't mind. But anyway, that's enough for me for waffling on. Nice to see everybody. I'm back from holiday. I'm fully ready to raring to go, and the amp's only 28 Celsius, so it's gone from 15 up to 28 I'm powering up, so it's not too bad because it's cool outside. So, because I was always worried about the the meter overheating power amp. But that's it. So I'll hand it straight back to Gary. I'm waiting for a cataracts to be redone because it's gone cloudy, so I'm blind. I'm even blinder than I was. But anyway, Gary, you got the microphone. I got the standby. It's very interesting. I'll obviously stay until the end of the net, but pass it over to you, Gary.
Ah, okay, Nigel. Very nice to have you on. And hello, Frank. Nice to have you on as well. And also hi to the YouTube listeners. I was trying to copy the YouTube channel or the net that we're on, you know, and give it to old man Frankie, 58135HA. That's Frankie. Good afternoon to you, Frankie. He's watching. Hello to Albert, Ocean November 4 Alpha Alpha Hotel. And who else is on? And of course, Henry, ZA6 Mike Charlie. So nice to see you guys, or have you on YouTube. I don't know what the hell I did to the YouTube channel. But anyway, it's working. So I'm just going to leave it well alone. I think it's working anyway. So I'm not going to mess with that. For sure not. But anyway... Frank, I'll send the link in a minute or two where you can go and register yourself onto the net. Right. Firstly, Leon, yeah, that video is very good, no problem, and it works well. And you've just aged a bit because of the definition of the camera, but otherwise, no problem at all. And Bert, I cannot believe your audio was absolutely perfect earlier, and then all of a sudden you had this robot sound back again, this tinny buzzing sound. So I hope you can sort it out, because you I don't know, it was just working well. In fact, with the little microphone pinned on, and all was good. So I don't know what you did, but something's changed. Martin, very impressive. Studio that is indeed, and you say a wonderful big 4K camera. We wouldn't mind that. You know, you should maybe swap your camera for theirs. It will do the same job for them, surely, whenever they use it. But anyway, very nice and very impressive, and thanks for sharing that with us. Really looks good. Then very interesting, Mike. I did laugh at the one comment made by old man, who was it now? I'm just trying to think. I think it was, who was it? He said you just, not plug and play, but plug and pray. That was Chris, ON1 Radio Charlie. Very good, very clever comeback there, Chris. And there's Jaap. Okay, Jaap's giving a bit of information to you, G4IMO. So you can follow up on that. That's Papa Alpha 2 Juliet Sierra Alpha. Hello, Jaap. And yeah, I don't know what, I didn't follow the comments. But anyway, what I did with my Pluto is throughout that TCXO, not difficult to take it out actually. And then I put in a GPS disciplined oscillator. And I'm running that at 50 megahertz, and it's working. Then from the, you can update the Pluto to accept PTT from SDR console. So you have to put a little PTT board into your Pluto. Very easy to do, just a little transistor which switches a read relay, and that you use to PTT. And then you just put it onto pins on the board. So not a difficult thing to do. Mike, your signal is very good. Your video is very nice. The contrast is beautiful. You had it all just well set up and very interesting on the OBS 2.8 and the Droid cam. Well, it's working. beautifully. So hats off to you for that one. Great stuff. Nick, okay, you're going to come right with Jaap there on the other side, giving you assistance. But there are tutorials available to do those mods. And Frank, everything's working fine, except that that what you call a thing, that audio thing, which I don't really like using myself, to be honest. I prefer not to. The less cluttered the screen, the better, although mine is a bit cluttered at the moment because I'm checking my current. And the temperature, 20.8 degrees. So I can just look at it on the screen while it's happening. But other than that, no problem. Let me just cut that out. And there we go. I'll leave the date on because on YouTube it's a bit of a log. Nigel, very nice audio from you. And you've got your signal coming through very well indeed. So well done. Well done. You just drove the living fright out of us when the white noise came through on your background television. But you quickly sorted that out. I don't know if you sat on a button or something, but it happened twice. But however, nice signal, nice video, everything is great. So you plodding along, getting things really well sorted. Right, with that, I'll pass it back to Leon, ZS1 Mike to take it from ZS6 Yankee India. From ZS6 Yankee India.
Okay, thanks Gary. ZS6YI and the group, ZS1 Mike returning. And yes, sorry, I forgot to say a very good day to all the listeners or viewers who are not transmitting at the moment. Gary mentioned a whole list of them. Okay, Bert, yeah, that amp board looks fine. It's really getting full now. Nicely populated, your amplifier controller. Martin, that aircraft clock, yes, I think that will probably have genuine radium tritium on it. So yes, but it's a bit far. I don't think my Geiger counter will reach that far. The BBC studios, yes, it looks ultra modern. Not very big. I thought they would have bigger studios compared to our SABC ones here from the olden days. I don't know what they look like now in the South African Broadcasting Corporation, but they had fairly roomy studios in those days, all analog, of course. Okay. That's that one, Mike. Yes, the only your picture is very sharp, as Gary says. Nice contrast, everything, but your motion is slow. It's like you're running something like 10 frames or even less frames per second. It's I don't know. it's definitely not running at 25 frames. Something is holding it. But otherwise it's fine. Yeah, I'm also using OBS 27 still. I actually used to use 25, but when I had to go to my little emergency computer, I just found 27 on the net, because I remember from what you said on the Thursday evening thing that don't use 28. But you've solved that. I'll stick to 27. It's okay for me. And Frank, nice to see that you are around and still kicking, although you're very busy. Nick, okay, on the smoke alarm, well, there you have a nice source of alpha radiation. It's also got that small little bit of americium in it, so you can disassemble that and get that out, and then just build yourself a Geiger counter and check it. Right. And if the 40 meg oscillator, well, no, I don't use the SAB side of QO-100. When I did, I used a proper radio a 1.2 gig radio, L-band radio, and converted that up to 2.4. So I never used the Pluto for SSB transmission. So no, my Pluto is stock standard, the hardware, except for the earthing modification that I did. No PTT, no nothing. I'm happy with it as it is. Okay, Nigel. Yes, the X-ray business. It's a standard X-ray machine. I have 5 of them, different models and different sizes. And the camera, what I did, I'm not using film. I took the intensifying screen that you get inside the film magazine of a normal X-ray plate. You know, they put the film in this magazine, and as a matter of fact, they have an intensifying screen on either side of the film, because X-ray film, most of it, not all of it, but most of the normal medical X-ray film is sensitized on both sides, so you get double the contrast for the same amount of radiation. So I took one of those screens, cut it about a little bit, yeah, half the size of this pad, so that size. I cut a piece like that, mounted it inside a metal box at the top. I should actually bring the box here sometime and show him. Anyway, and then I've got a camera mounted. I've got a diagonal mirror, so the camera is looking from the side through a hole in the box, and the screen is at the top with a dark thing over it, a perspex, so that light can't get into it, but the X-rays will still go. So the object is on top of the box, just above the screen. X-rays coming from the top. The screen glows, makes a picture, but very dim. It gets reflected by the 45-degree mirror into the camera. That's why I could do it without having to develop film. I do this from around the corner. I trigger the camera with its remote. It's got a countdown. You can hear it beep, 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 and then cluck as the shutter opens. I have the shutter set for something like 5 seconds or so, because it's dark inside the box, so the camera is not seeing anything. And then I trigger the X-ray machine, making sure that I have a brick wall between me and the room where the X-ray machine is. So I've checked it with a Geiger counter. The Geiger counter is very, very sensitive to the X-rays, and there's nothing on the other side of the wall. There's nothing, so I don't need any protective gear. And also I always radiate down. I never radiate sideways with the X-ray machine. I always radiate down into the ground, and I'm standing outside the room, so there's no radiation reaching me. It's pretty safe. I'm very, very cautious of those things. When I got my first X-ray machine, it was actually a friend of mine who's also a radio ham. He's not in South Africa anymore. He lives in New Zealand now. If he's still alive, he's much older than me, but he was a medical practitioner. He was a doctor, and he had to buy a new X-ray machine for his practice. There was nothing wrong with his old one. I've got it. It's a Siemens Monador. The only thing is it didn't have a dead man switch. When you press the button on the timer, they wanted, if you release the button, it must stop instantly and not carry on exposing, you know, until the time. Until it's done, and then it'll stop. So they failed it on that. After all the years of operation, they didn't like that. I'm making too much movement. I see I'm dropping out here and there. Anyway, so he gave it to me, and he bought a new one. It cost him 80,000 Rand in those days. That's about nearly 40 years ago. That would be about the equivalent of, say, 30,000 pounds, I think, was what the new one cost him. Anyway, so why did I tell you about? Oh, that was so he said to me, "Be careful, because you very easily you can get leukemia from you know, overexposure to X-rays and things. So I'm very, very cautious. But if you look at what the old people used to do with X-ray machines, looking straight into the stuff and, you know, direct fluoroscopy, crazy. Anyway, okay, enough from me. I should give it.
Yeah, and certainly you were out there, Leon. But anyway, I got everything in. And I'm listening now to my own audio, and I hear that it's strange. I don't know what it is. It's strange because, as Gary already mentioned, it was perfectly an hour ago, but now I don't know what it is. I have to check it what it is. I will not take it any longer. Switched over then to Martin. G4FKK, the group, PH3 AOD.
You caught me on the hop there, Bert. PA3 AOD G4FKK returning. And, well, strangely enough, so just read what Nigel said. I can hear what you're saying, Bert, so we're not losing any intelligence, as it were, but or intelligibility even. But it does sound a bit odd. I say it sounds to me as though you're looping something round, but it doesn't sound like a lack of phantom on the microphone, but who knows? Anyway, well, I suppose I should know really, but I don't. Yeah, Mike, excellent picture, superb, and especially from the Intel chipset there. Mind you, as you say, you have got an i7, so I guess that works quite well. And I love the way you say, "Oh yeah, the script's easy." It's not, Mike. It really isn't. It's easy when you send me one and I can cut and paste it, but which you have done very kindly before. But trying to invent them from scratch, and then you went on to say, "Oh, you have to edit it a bit to tell it to request things rather than just expect them to appear." So anyway, I'm sure that'll appear somewhere. Unless DroidCam comes with a script already written, maybe. What else we got here? Oh yeah, the presenters, they don't like the cameras as much as you wouldn't, generally speaking, Mike. They have to have plenty of warning that they're going to be on, and it's caused all sorts of kerfuffle in the past. And yes, Leon, those studios are very small. We're having to squeeze them in an existing broadcasting centre up in Birmingham. So I think the one I showed you, I think, used to be a storeroom. I think it was originally going to be an edit suite because it seems to be fairly well sound treated. But when I was in Birmingham last time, it was a storeroom. Yes, but I have done that for you. Yes, thank you, Mike. Top man. Should I mention from freezing problem? I didn't see the freezing problem on Thursday. I was up in Birmingham, Mike, but it looks to me as though you fixed it because it wasn't freezing at all. Nick, excellent being on the Ross Revenge there and seeing their studio. I used to work with a chap called Peter Posthumus, which apparently is a Dutch name, but he wasn't Dutch. And he at one point was the chief engineer of Caroline, but that was back in the 60s. So it was all a bit different then. And And yeah, the TCXO. Well, what I used that as Chris actually said further up the chat, ON1RC I think it was. You can use that pin. What I did, I built a little circuit board, which if you fed in an external reference, so a GPS locked reference, for example, it generated an output which would then trigger that pin. So it would stop the internal one operating and use the output from the external reference, and that worked quite well. In fact, I've still got it on one of my old Plutos here. I tend not to use it now because it's all a bit complicated. But yeah, that pin does work, and if you can get to it, that's probably a good way of doing it. Frank, if you're probably not there, Frank, but great to see you back on the on telly again. And okay, about having visitors. Yes, I've got visitors, so this will be a final from me. Great to see you as well, Nigel. And I hope you had a great time in Scarborough. I have been to Scarborough before, but I was working there, so I wasn't able to enjoy the full facilities, as it were. And good picture and good audio as well, Nigel. And Gary, usual high quality from you, so that's got to be good. And yeah, Leon, I'm rather glad your Geiger counter can't read the radiation from that clock. Otherwise, I would be in trouble, wouldn't I? Right, okay, well, I think that'll do from me. Don't think there's anything else to amaze you all with. So I shall put it back round to Mike. And he was dead, but isn't now. Well, no, funny enough, he was alive, but now he isn't, Mike. So that's why I felt able to mention Peter's name on the radio. Brilliant. G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey to take it. Cheerio to you and everyone else. This is G4FKK signing off. I will be watching though. Bye.
Okay, for a minute I thought there wasn't going to be any audio or video. Back on the main system now, which was having trouble on Thursday of freezing. And you probably remember the net we had last Sunday. I had an issue with freezing video as well. And I didn't really understand what it was. But what I had done was I'd modified two Plutos for somebody, and to do that I'd installed the Pluto driver and software, and that was the latest thing I'd installed. So I uninstalled it, and lo and behold, the freezing seems to have stopped. And it was only happening on USB cameras, so something to do with installing the Pluto's driver software was causing video freezing. Which is very strange, because it wasn't freezing at all on Bunny or anything else. So if anyone has that problem, uninstall those drivers, unless of course you're using them, in which case hard luck, I guess. But yeah, it was all very interesting, and good to see you, Nigel, and your test card. The interesting thing is when you get that screen up with the noise, it takes all the bandwidth to try and display the noise, and you go very fuzzy. So it was also incredibly loud. So that was good. There is a strange thing though with this other system of mine, which I'm back on the main system incidentally, in case you're wondering. But the laptop system, I was trying to do a clap test, and stop sniggering, Martin. No, not that sort of clap test. This sort of clap test. To test the lip sync, and it didn't work, and I could sit there talking at it, and then I'd go clap and there'd be no clap, and I could talk through it and do it again, And all I can assume is that it's got some clever software that's actually taking the noises out, the background noise. So it makes doing that sort of test really difficult. But that was a bit of a surprise. Okay, really good to see everyone. I won't be on next week, so hope everyone has a good week. And I'll try and see if I can watch, but I won't be able to join. But I am working on getting a new station on the air. It won't be this time, owing to a certain conference, but maybe before the end of the year, maybe not. We'll have to wait and see. So that'll be a new DXCC for you to work on TV stroke SSB. Right, I think I pass it round to Nick, don't I? So over to you, Nick. G4IMO, G0MJW.
Yep, okay, Mike, thanks for that. Yep, got my audio there. Okay, yeah, all very interesting, very good. Yeah, okay, thanks for all the help and the useful comments on the mods to the TCXO. Yes, yeah, okay, well, I think I'll try and use that pin to inhibit the oscillator, and I assume the output from the oscillator, well, I don't know, is the output from the oscillator high impedance? So once you've inhibited it, you can connect the other oscillator straight onto the output pin, which is coupling into the chip capacitor. I don't know, or whether, I mean, the proper thing to do is to unsolder the chip capacitor, which is, I think, is probably quite easy to do. Anyway, I shall experiment with that. Yeah, okay, on the PTT, Mike. Well, in my Pluto, I have a small printed circuit board in there for the PTT, which I used to use when I had F1 EJP 2.79. That used to do the PTT for me on here on QO-100 when I was doing the TV. The snag with that was it used to take, I don't know, about 8-10 seconds to actually operate. But once I changed over to TV Easy 1.25 that I'm now using, that no longer worked. So I now manually switch the PTT, which has the advantage that it's instantaneous. I can just come on straight away. So maybe I can utilise that little printed circuit board for the PTT, but obviously it's not connected to the Pluto in the same connection. So I shall need to have a look on that to see what the connections are for the for SDR console on the Pluto for that. So, but hopefully I can use that printed circuit board. Anyway, that's something else to look into. Right, that's about it, I think. Oh, yeah, okay, Martin, on your friend who used to work on the, who was the chief engineer out there. Yeah, that's interesting. I've not heard the name, actually. There was a chap, I think he belonged to the Chelmsford Marconi Club, I think, who was an engineer out there. I can't remember his call sign now. But yes, if ever you get the opportunity to visit that ship, it's really quite interesting. It's well worth a visit. They take you down into the engine room, and there's a massive engine down there. In fact, it's the same engine that they use on a German submarine, which they start on compressed air. There's a separate generator alongside that generates the compressed air, which you use to start the main engines. And take you down into the transmitter hold. You can see the original RCA 50 kilowatt anti-phase, is it anti-phase? I can't remember what they call it now. Yeah, the original 50 kilowatt ampliphase, that's right, ampliphase transmitter down there. And there's also got a small 5 kilowatt and a 10 kilowatt one there that they used to use as well. But yeah, it's quite interesting to go out there and see that. And the studio, it's all the nice valve audio mixers and those 45 RPM turntables. Oh dear, those were the days. All right, I'm going to make this one my finals. I'll say 73 to everybody and hope to see you all next time. So I'll pass the transmission round to Frank. ZS6GE. Cheerio to everybody. This is G4IMO is off and clear. Cheerio.
It's ZS61.
One, two. One, two, yeah, okay, got audio switch set off. Okay, thanks Gary, but I wasn't sure if somebody else was coming on before me, but it went up and come down again, so apologise if I am doubling. I do apologise if I offended anybody, but it was just a weird cut I got in my head. But it was the audio was totally unworkable. But anyway, I do apologise if I've offended the said person. I'm going to show you a little video where I start with building the shack. It's only 6 minutes. I'll let's see if I can do that. So if I transition over to that, it'll go black and the audio's no sound. So oh, it's come on. Oh, good. Knock the old shed down and clean the and yeah, put and any audio to this. That's why I put the text on the bottom. But there was an existing wall and an outer wall, so I had to totally build 2 walls, but a side and a back wall was okay, so you had to put the base extra wall to get the cavity in. initial floor space was quite wide, but I had to put an internal wall in and give a third of the space to the Y for air gardening and stuff. I wouldn't hope to have the all full, three thirds of all of it, but she had to have a bit for her garden equipment, so in the end I got it 2/3 less, but I could get in everything in. Unless we put the plastic cladding along. That's it. I hope you've enjoyed it. I haven't bored you too much. Time's getting on, but that's all I've got. I'll do a next part 2 of it when I build up the plan of building up the transmitter and whatnot, what I'm using, but give you a bit of interest. I'll hand it back to Gary. ZS6Y India, and good day, good evening to everybody, and catch you next week. Just put you back to test card, and I'll see you. I'll listen till the end, and thank you very much for letting me on. Bye bye. Gary, you take it, mate.
Okay, fine, Nigel. Just want to see if I'm coming up because I had a spotted problem. Looks like it's okay. Yeah, I had a spot of trouble. I couldn't stop PTTing. It went erratic. So, old Murphy playing games here. And yeah, we've been joined by Frank, DL9DAC. I think that was the call sign. And also by Bob Maguire, November 4 Hotel Yankee. He's watching on YouTube. Hello, Bob. You can after this transmission, you can always go back, just re-click it, and it'll take you back to the beginning. So it's not lost, thank goodness. And Bob was the head of AMSAT US, and I think he's still on the board. I'm not sure. I haven't followed that very closely, but anyway. Bob, you can see what we do on a Sunday afternoon or early morning your time by chatting to each other in a nice little net. I want to now call in Frank. Frank, do you want to give us a shot? Let's see how you come through from ZA6 Yankee India.
Okay, I think I'm on. Good afternoon, everybody. DL9DAC here. First time here on the net. As Gary said, name here is Frank. Located here in Hagen, near Dortmund. Around about 70 kilometers from Cologne. Running a 1 meter dish using the Pluto and putty feed, bullseye LNB, and the UMTS amplifier. Hello Gary, hello Leon, hello Bert, Martin, Mike, Nick, Frank, Nigel, and also to the United States to Bob. Just wanted to say hello to everybody and just give it a try here on the net and see if things are working. And everybody, if anybody or everybody can copy me. Weather here about 14 degrees, a mix of blue sky and some clouds, and autumn is here, starting to get a bit colder. So I copied everybody really fine. Thanks for the information. Still running OBS, the 27 version. I had the 28 on, but experienced the known problems with the virtual cam. So I switched back to the what version do I have? It's the 27.2.3, running quite well. So thank you very much. Nice to see everybody. Greetings here from Germany, and Gary, I'll give the microphone back to you to South Africa. ZS6YI and the group, DL9DAC, going into reception mode.
Okay, very, very good indeed, Frank. Excellent signal, excellent video, excellent audio. You can't beat it. And thank you very much for that Apollo transmission yesterday. That was fantastic. I have seen it before from you, but this was on 125 kilo symbols yesterday, and it was remarkably good. In fact, I hope you've got that on a Dropbox or something. I wouldn't mind getting downloading that copy, because or do at one stage replay it. It was fantastic. Leon, will you carry on down the net, whoever comes back? I just want to let Bob see what it looks like. So let me just see who's on still. Yeah, Leon, you still there? And then Bert, I hope you've got your audio sorted, Bert. And Martin, hopefully. I think Mike said he's going. But look, let's just go down the list one more time. We've been quite a short list today. So, Leon, if you don't mind, sir, back to you. ZS1 Mike and the whole group from ZS6YI. ZS1 Mike and the whole group from ZS6YI.
Okay, Gary. Yeah, I actually signed earlier on, but yeah, I'm on the old camera now. I just want to say hello to Frank there, the new Frank, DL. And I also watched parts of that transmission of him, of the Apollo, and it is excellent. I've got the whole set of DVDs on all the Apollo missions and stuff, but it does not contain that material. So Gary, I think you must twist his arm and get him to put it on Dropbox for us. Because I'm very, very interested, especially in the Apollo missions. The shuttle missions is nothing, but the Apollo missions, that was something with the equipment that they did that successfully. That takes some doing. So gentlemen, I am signing. I'm actually busy having a late lunch. So Gary caught me by surprise now. Anyway, okay, yeah, Mike, yeah, I thought, gee whiz, but now your video is smooth. Now you're going to tell me I'm talking rubbish. But so you went to the main system. The video was good on the other one, but it was not 25 frames a second. It was slower, definitely. Whereas where you were now, it was smooth as always. Okay. Cheers to everybody. Bert, if you are there, if you've switched off your buzzing digital sound, just restart the computer. It'll be gone then. So you take it. Papa Alpha 3, Alpha Oscar Delta, ZS1 Mike, signing for the second time. I will be listening. 73s everybody from ZS1MM.
Yes, back in the air. I believe sounds. Hello, test. That sounds better than. Okay, I think it's okay now. What I did was just restarting OBS. That's all I did. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. Anyway, I will not. Yeah. Okay, leave it as it is. The only thing for IMO. This is what I did for my Pluto. Just put in, removed the TCXO and oh, the other way around. Just then put in the PDT, TX out, RX in, an external LO. And just as Martin, I thought it was Martin wrote already in the chat. Did also call it a capacitor in serial with the input of the external LO. And the external LO is in my case on the moment is an Leah Bodnar, GPSOD. Okay, yeah, I will. The next 2 weeks I will not be in. Probably in 3 weeks time I'm again over here, and hopefully it will work then. But I don't know what the problem was. Just restarting OBS was almost needed, So there was no error, nothing at all. Okay, doesn't matter. No, I wanted to tell something and now I'm lost. No, it doesn't matter. The system then goes to Martin, is he still in? G4FKK, the group on PH3 AOD.
Yes, okay, Bert. PA3AOD, G4FKK. Yes, I had signed, but I wanted to quickly pop up and say hi to Frank. Great picture and audio, Frank. So I missed your Apollo videos. So maybe another week you could show those on the net. But great to see you on the net. Certainly the first time I've seen you on the net, Frank. You'll probably tell me you've been on loads of times or something. Anyway, I will disappear now. Thanks everyone for the enjoyable QSO. I need to go and rejoin my ladies in the house, and I said to them, I'll only take one over, so this is the third over. Terrible. See you later, and round to you, Mike. I'm pretty sure you're still there. G0 Mike Juliet Whiskey, cheerio all, G4FKK.
Okay, thank you, Martin. Let's mute the other VLC, hopefully. Yeah, so good to see everyone again on the next round. This is probably dropping frames because it's not quite optimized yet. So that'll be why it might be looking a little bit strange. But also, it's you know, it's not got the graphics card. It's just the CPU doing the encoding. It's not as good. Not as good by a long way, probably. And hi to N4HY. Commiserations that you don't have a geostationary transponder to work through in the US. Maybe by next year. You never know. Get working on it. And in Frank, very good pictures. I was watching the Apollo one yesterday, and I thought it was really good for 125 kilosymbols. Now, one thing I was going to try and demonstrate is the clap test that I was doing before. And let's just see if this works. So, beware. Yeah, it didn't, did it? Or if it did, it didn't work. There's also the whistle test. Also doesn't work. So I can whistle and I can clap. And you can't hear it. Very strange. Okay, with that, I'm going to sign. As I said, I won't be on next week, so all the best. I think it was going around to Nick, if you're still there, Nick. If not, I guess it's probably Nigel. So let's go round to Nick. G4IMO, over to you, G0NJW.
Yeah, okay, Mike. I had signed actually, but I thought I'd just come on and say hello to Frank there. I must say, Frank, welcome to the net, and excellent picture quality, absolutely superb. So your system there is working extremely well. Very good, Frank. Excellent quality, and the sound very good. Okay, anyway, I'm off to lunch now, so I'm going to say 73 to everybody. Yeah, okay, Mike, okay, on that clap test, yeah. I saw somebody, who was it? Somebody was demonstrating that, and that there was a facility in the software to do that. So it's obviously become permanently enabled. Can't remember who it was now, but anyway, I have seen that before. So anyway, interesting effect. Okay, that's enough from me. So I don't know whether Frank is still there. But anyway, I'm going to go and have some lunch now. So I'll say cheerio and see you all next time. Cheers.
Okay, I think I'll wrap up. Very good.
Just take it.
And all signals good. I think, Mike, it could be the AGC on that audio line. Sometimes people have a background noise eliminator switched on the microphone, and then you find that you can clap until you're blue in the face. That very sharp spike gets taken away. I'm not so sure about the whistle. One has to be careful that the false teeth don't come out with it, but it must be something just on the audio train that has been automatically switched in to prevent probably background bangs and cracks and noises, etc. Anyway, I'm sure that is something that you will sort out in due course. Right, Bob, welcome on board as well. And as Mike said so eloquently, commiserations that you guys don't have a satellite up just yet. I certainly hope it comes. And please just put it in such an angle that we could more or less work it from South Africa, even if it's almost 0 degrees. Then that'll be interesting. But anyway, who knows what will happen in the future. We certainly hope it all works out well. Yeah, Frank, you've been complimented on your wonderful signal again, and it is. And we look forward to maybe getting a copy via or a link to Dropbox or one of those that we could go you've got my email address, and we can perhaps get a copy of that wonderful compilation that you did on the NASA program, is the Apollo 11 program. Really, really good. And on 125 kilo symbols, it was superb. Right, with that, I'm going to throw the ball in the air, bid everyone a very happy week, and we see each other next week, all being well. This is ZS6YI for the AMSAT, shall we call it, DX Worldwide Net, now signing clear and bidding everyone frequency a happy week. 7-3 all. Bidding everyone.
Yeah, okay, folks, just like to say 73 to you all. And I'll catch but I'll catch you next week. Yeah, only one comment I've got is Frank, when I mean obviously you're nothing wrong your end, but for some reason I couldn't receive you. I'm using Winter Hill. Everybody else on the net I received. But you'd know, I don't know why that would be from my end, I don't know. Anyway, send it for you all, take care, God bless, and see you all next week. 2E0EHX, now going clear, after I put my test card up. And leaving the frequency clear. 7 for you all, goodbye, bye-bye.
See if this works. Yeah, 3 Fox Bravo X-ray. Oh, that sounds strange. Sure what's going on with my microphone, but I have a lot of audio problems lately, and this fits right in there. Anyway, thank you for the net, Gary, and all. Watched it on YouTube in the end. Apparently my Twitch audio was also wrong. Like I said, lots of problems. But I was traveling home and just got home. Back in the shack quickly to thank you for the net, Gary, and all the group from Papa Alpha 3 Foxtrot Bravo X-ray.
Hello, Benno. Sorry we got you right at the tail end. Oh, always nice to see you. And yeah, nice signal. No audio issues that we could detect this side. I just hope that my Pluto stops PTT when I stop. I think it's got very hot. It's darn hot here. It's well into the early 30s at the moment, although my final is 18.6 degrees C, so it's not too bad. I can actually bring that up. But yeah, always good to see you, Benno, and thanks for coming up. There we go. And what is it now? 18.9, so it's climbing slightly, but it'll never go over 22 degrees C, so it keeps it nice and cool. That's the advantage of having a chiller for temperature-controlled water chiller, which we use on injection molding machines. Keeps everything fine. I must just port some of that to the Pluto. Quite easy to do, actually, just 2 pipes in and out with a little grid underneath the Pluto, and that'll keep everything nice and dandy. Okay, guys, I am definitely also going to go off, and then I'll cut the YouTube link. So this is ZS6YI saying 7-3 all round.
So now I think I have audio. Excuse me. Okay. Also, good afternoon, Benno, PA3FBX. Wishing everybody a great start in the new week. And also a nice Sunday afternoon and evening. And see you next time. 73 is here from Germany. And maybe see you also in normal QSOs here on the satellite. DL9 DAC signing off, and it was a pleasure to join into the net. Bye bye, 73s.
All the best, ZA6YI.